Welcome to the No Bull Political Arena. With your hosts, Sophia Nelson, Bill O'Reilly, Brian Mistro, and TJ McCormick. It's real voices, raw politics, and no bullshit. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the No Bull Political Arena. This is Brian Mistro. I'm here with TJ McCormick, Sophia Nelson, of course, and our good friend Michel Faulkner. Looking forward to quite an interesting discussion this evening. It's some stuff has happened that, quite frankly, I'm shocked at. So let's just dive into it. Sophia is holding up her no bullshit button, which is something we're implementing on the show, by the way, so that when me and TJ start talking about the riots in that are going on in Minnesota or whatever, I can just press my no bullshit button and he has to stop right there and apologize. Okay, let's dive into some news real quick. Donald Trump today. Wow, it's wonderful how many times we start off on Donald Trump. Donald Trump today shared a post on Truth Social, where the end of the post depicted Obama and Michelle in gorilla suits or monkey suits. I can't figure out which one they are. To say that it wasn't well received would be an understatement. It was not just called down by Democrats, Republicans across the Hill, senators, congressmen. Even Brit Hume was seriously angry about this. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to bounce this off to Sophia and get Michael's and everybody's take. I do have some stuff that I want to share on it in a minute, but Sophia, what do you say? I've been saying that this is who he is for years. Okay. What do you say?
I'd like to pass my time to TJ first, and then I'll come back to me. Because I'd really like to know, TJ is still, I think, a Republican, and I'd really actually like to hear from somebody in the Republican Party and how they see this, because I know how I see it as a former Republican, but I'd like to see how TJ
I see it as any rational thinking person who abhors racism. I see it as disgusting. I see it as reprehensible. I see it as needing to be taken down, which it was. I'd like to see further explanation. Rarely does the principal in the process, push the button. Let me finish. I'm not making an excuse. Rarely does the person at the top of the pile actually execute this stuff. He's an exception to the rule. In terms of, and now what did he do, by the way? Did he reshare something? I mean, no, all of this is just.
He reposted it, retweeted it.
So, and I want to come back to that too. So, yes,
so
go ahead,
look,
TJ.
I mean, I think he needs to either explain what happened after a thorough apology for it and a complete mea culpa, and or if there was somebody in the process that did it, they need to either immediately resign or he needs to immediately fire them. I mean, there's just no wiggle room. Unfortunately, I'm not going to give anybody anything fantastic to jump on. I think we're all on the same page here. Is it the end of his presidency? No, nor should it be. But it's because it's not that simple. But this is ridiculous. It's awful. It's disgusting, and I don't condone or any.
Michael, you want to talk next?
Yeah,
go for it.
I do. You asked for a Republican. I am still at present a Republican.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And yeah. And so not only am I disgusted, it is revolting to every sensory perception that I have. And it is everything that I can do to maintain a polite sense of decorum. However, I do believe that he is racist. He has done racist things, and this is the worst. So if this was a one-off or, once in a while, but you see, coupled with taking down African American history from prominent historical uh, locations here in the city of Philadelphia without notice and across the country, continuing to rename or naming or refusing to take down the names of Confederate generals from United States military bases and a plethora of other things. I'm not a knee-jerk liberal that is constantly talking about racism. It's racism, racism, racism. However, this was racist. Clearly, references to primates and African Americans
Ugh.
has always
Dog
been
whistle.
a dog whistle.
Oh, it's even more than a dogwood.
It's
It's like a bathtub that a proper hateful racist sinks into for comfort. It's
absolutely, absolutely.
awful. It's just
And
stomach
that
turning.
all of the racists out there that saw that laughed, chuckled, and got a
That's
rise
my
because
president.
that's my president. Look at what he did. They posted that picture. They've got it printed somewhere. And I'm sorry, it's un-American. It's un-American.
$100%.
It's just morally, ethically reprehensible. And I'll say the last thing I'll say about this particular tirade is that I think it calls into question his not just his moral question, but his mental uh, acumen. Is he competent for the office? That's my question.
That's a good one,
Brian,
Sophia.
reclaiming my time. I think a couple things. One, I appreciate both TJ and Michael and their sober assessment. I think everybody, like TJ said, that is a decent thinking, just human being, doesn't talk like that, doesn't act like that, and would discipline their children severely if they caught that on their phones or saw them talking like that with friends. We're in the 21st century. So let me just say this about it. I'm not surprised. I wasn't shocked. And I think what worries me is that the response I saw from Republicans was the first time, I would probably say, in definitely the second term, but even throughout the first term, where they didn't say, "Oh, I wasn't on social media today. I didn't see that." And, "Oh, I don't comment on the
Hmm.
president's social media." There was Swift and Tim Scott
Yeah,
started it off, which was, I think, important, that the only Black Republican United States senator who has been very close with this president and very supportive of him walloped him. Like, he straight up called it what it was and said, "It's one of the most racist things I've seen come out of this White House," which
that's
intimated
exactly what he
there
said.
were other racist things that had come out of the White House.
Yeah,
And Scott's also not running again, so he doesn't care, right? And again, I saw this with Tillis and others. They get real brave when they're not going to stay in office, and that bothers me. But I think as far as the Obamas go, even people I know who did not vote for the Obamas or who were not fans, I saw people that came out pretty quickly today. I even saw Christians like Kay Warren, Warren's wife. The guy that wrote Purpose Driven Life, right? I mean, his wife, who never gets involved in politics, she just doesn't do it. Beth
hmm.
Moore, those guys, the Christian was community was like,
Westmore too.
yeah,
Yeah,
like no, no, and no, and no. Like, guys, where's the line on this that we say as people of faith that we're just not doing this with this man anymore? And so that struck me as interesting.
hmm.
Again, but for me as a Black woman, the way he talks to female reporters, Black reporters, the housing, issues that they had in the 70s, not wanting to rent to Black people, the Central Park Five, and even after they were exonerated and saying they should still be, given the death penalty, calling Obama and saying that he wasn't, born here, birtherism. And then you've
Hmm.
got the people who worked on The Apprentice set, eyewitnesses, Omarosa being one of them, saying how he trafficked and using the N word often. and that, Roma Downey, who's a big Christian's husband, Mark Burnett, has those tapes and has been asked but will not release them. So I am not surprised at all that this is what he was doing at 1 o'clock in the morning and retweeting some foolishness on Truth Social. I was surprised that the White House press secretary, as ridiculous as she is, actually tried to tell everybody to get over it. It was from the Lion King, as if that made the shit better. Like as if somehow, and there are no apes or monkeys on the Lion King, that's bullshit. But at the end of the day, this is not something that we should take lightly. I think that we are a laughing stock in the rest of the world right now. I can't imagine how other people see us as just a clown show over here. And the Epstein files get worse every single day. And I hope we're going to get into that every day. The CEO of Chuck E. Cheese had to step down today. Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, I did not see that.
Where we all took our kids. He's in the Epstein files. Where we all took our kids to go and spend a lot of money on pizza and those little plastic balls and everything else. The people whose names are dropping in these files are simply stunning. I see why they want to redact them and keep it a secret. But that's what this is. It's a distraction from the important things we should be talking about.
So I want to come back to something that, first of all, I probably wasn't as shocked as everybody else was about it, because it's like, shit, I've been seeing this kind of stuff from him for years.
Yep.
But I want to dive just a little bit deeper into that, because I have taken one for this team. And I've never gotten a big thank you from this team, but I took one for this team because I signed up for Truth Social. Okay. So I have to go over there and I periodically, I don't respond to this stuff, but I do verify that, holy cripes, he didn't really just post that, did he? So with that in mind, that post was one of, must have been 50, 75. I didn't count them because I can only take about 5 minutes of MAGA before my IQ starts dropping and my brain starts shutting down. So, but it was a litany of other posts before it. Just click, 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 click.
All within like a certain time frame, like within a few hours.
It's one after the other, and I'm coming to a point about this.
He's doing this, TJ. We're locked out, sleep.
Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is that the video that he posted, and he trying to blame it on a staffer. Bullshit. It's not. Sorry, Reverend. Bullshit. Okay, it's not a staffer that. I'm
on No Bull Media, so we got it. We got it. He does
know. He's all right. He's good.
So this particular little part was 2 seconds of the end of a long conspiracy theory about why the 2020 election was stolen, kind of crap. That's what goes through all the time. But here's my point. This is the president.
I'm sorry. Are you saying that there's a chance he didn't see that part of the video?
I say there's a very, 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 very likely chance
because he didn't articulate that. I wanted to finish that sentence for you.
He did not articulate that because
you? Were you? I'm saying was that your point? Are you thinking there's a chance? And I'm not hoping that's
no. I'll say right out. I think it's very likely he didn't see that last 2 seconds. I don't know how the hell you can post that much stuff and videos and post stuff like that and read through it in a matter of minutes.
It's obsessive.
So go ahead. Here's the point I want to make.
Yeah.
This is the president of the United States.
Yep.
This is the presidency of the United States. Words have power. Okay. Posts and things that he says have power. They have for every single president. And when he does this and these types of things come out, it reduces the presidency of the United States, not just domestically, but in front of the entire planet, because now his words don't have the same amount of power. Mm-hmm. And so this isn't the first time this has happened. This is a regular occurrence. I have no idea if he's got a mental condition. I have no idea if he's on drugs. I don't know if he just can't sleep. But this happens regularly in the middle of the night with him posting crazy stuff all night long. And so I'm not in any way downplaying what he posted. Instead, what I'm saying, this is part of a bigger issue facing Americans and what he's doing. And it's repulsive. and hopefully he will change. But I think realistically, nobody on this show
Oh
thinks that's
no,
going to
no,
Let
no,
happen.
me
no.
drop
This
in
is time for the yeah.
let me drop in some context because just yesterday, we're not even going to talk about the prayer breakfast and how bad that went.
That would
But
take up another show.
right, just yesterday, the Department of, I want to say Parks and Services, it might have been or whatever, but they decided that Medgar Evers' killer, Byron D. LeBeckwith, cannot be
Mhm.
called a racist. And they took off the pamphlets and got rid of the pamphlets to go to the museum of the house where he was shot,
Mhm.
Mississippi. I mean, what are we supposed to call a guy who was in the Klan and murdered the NAACP chairman in Mississippi in 1963? Like, what else are we supposed to call him? This erasure, everything they've been doing with the Park Service that Michael mentioned in Philadelphia, a judge actually went out and walked around and she restored it and made them restore it. A judge in Pennsylvania. But my point is, we're going backwards. This is 2026. This isn't 1966. This isn't 1866. This is 2026. And then
100%.
George Herbert Walker Bush, who I worked for, my first job in politics. Well, I was in law school, but he was the most wonderful gentleman. I mean, I can't say enough about how much I liked that man and having time to talk with him and whatever. And W and Clinton, even, and, Obama and Ford and Carter, we can go all the way back. We've never had a president conduct himself this way. Not even Nixon did things like this.
Well,
Exactly.
Andrew Johnson did.
Yeah, Andrew Johnson did, but you're right. You got to go back to the Civil War.
You got to go back to the Civil War. He was the one that undid, that
Reconstruction.
undermined, the
Reconstruction.
Act and so forth and so on. So there is history, and I tell people this all the time. He's not the first idiot to be in the White House.
Yeah.
He's not. He's not. However, in modern times, Brian, just like you said, it's really scary because we are losing moral authority with the nations. I wrote a piece on Venezuela. I said, nobody gives up the high place. We gave up that gunboat diplomacy stuff that he's trying to pull off. We are giving up moral high ground.
Yeah.
Something pops off, we can no longer say to an aggressor, "Oh, you shouldn't be like that because that's just wrong."
Yeah.
Hello, it's just like him releasing all of the anarchists, talking about I mean, I know this is off topic, but I just could not help it the other day when he was talking about evoking the Insurrection Act. I'm
Yeah.
like, I thought I was going to die.
That's
I
not
was like,
something you say lightly.
you
Yeah.
don't say that lightly, and
Especially after you've pardoned a
you
bunch of J6 people.
promoted
Yeah.
insurrection. You did it. You threatened to have your vice president killed. Hello, that's the very epitome of insurrection. You're raiding the offices, the election offices in Georgia, and talking about having Republicans take over elections. It was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe.
Ryan, can we, to Michael's point, talk about a more serious issue though? And TJ's hit on it. I think we all have, but somebody's got to help me understand what is in the mind. You said you're on Truth Social. I'm trying hard, and I mean it sincerely.
Say a prayer for me every night, Michael.
Yeah, but what is going on with our fellow Americans? The 50, 60, 70 million of them, 77 million voted for him in the last election, despite Hannibal Lecter, despite the sharks, despite the Aesop's fable of the snake and all these other things that he does that are nonsensical. They thought he was a better choice. So my point is, help me understand, and I think we need to pull this apart, because until we can understand what's going on in the minds of these people known as MAGA, I'm not sure we're getting to what the problem is here. I've been really trying to work at this hard, and I think that when I saw the reaction from MAGA on social media to this, the applauding, the happiness, the go, the get the libtards, stick it to them, they're woke, whatever, get over it. I'm like, these are people who we work with, who we see at the store, who, you know, yada, yada, yada. Why? What's going on with them? I mean, I think we got to get down to what's happening. And Michael, I'd love to know your thoughts as a pastor. Maybe I don't know what's going on.
Well, I just want to throw out, since you threw it out, I want to say all my family is MAGA. All my family, I was raised in East Texas. And it got to the point that me and my father, who has cancer, were having troubles talking to each other. And so
That's a show, by the way. Let's talk. Let's look at
yeah,
that down the road.
well, it's so it got to the point that he and I came to an understanding that we would not talk about Donald Trump or politics,
Good.
which makes it difficult, of course, with me doing what I do right now. But that's okay. That's okay. So here's, and this is and I was making a point here because I come in one time and he's sitting down on the couch, and he hopped up earlier, ran in, grabbed his iPad, comes back to the couch. He's sitting down, and remember, I'm visiting. Okay, so it's kind of odd. And he says, "I got to watch my show." So okay, and then so I get curious, and I walk over behind him, like, what the hell is it? CNN? Is it Fox? No, he religiously watches Steve Bannon every season.
Oh my goodness.
And so of course, being me, mouth off and say, well, now I can understand where some of your views come from. But we let it slide. My point I'm trying to get at is that you said, why are these people doing this? Why are these people voting for him? What is wrong with the rest of America that you could justify that? And my answer back to you is the information that they're receiving. My father doesn't watch Fox News. It's too liberal. Okay. So it is the media companies that are doing this.
Well, at this point is when, I am very quick to, we have a bullshit button. I don't like whataboutism. I don't like, too quickly people will say, oh, well, what about so-and-so's thing? You talk about one person's behavior. Republicans love to throw out Bill Clinton and, his dalliances and that sort of thing. And then you have the actual, answering of a question. Say, well, why would somebody? And, we were headed down a path of uncontrolled, unbridled progressivism. There really was.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Honestly, like, it's unfortunately something's become a cliche once you talk about them too much. And one person's cliche is another person's dog whistle. One person's dog whistle is another person's trope, etc. Here in New York, where there's a veto-proof supermajority of progressive Democrats who are now not progressive enough. The progressive Democrats in the House and the Assembly, in the Senate and the Assembly and the Capitol in Albany are all under fire from Mamdani wing progressive. And this is in a state.
Michael's like, oh yeah.
This is in a state where, and I think you can just use New York as a microcosm of what the pushback was all about. Here's a state that just passed a Proposition 1, which pretty much did away with any labels at all, which basically allowed all things insane to happen. The idea of men in women's safe spaces. That has become a cliche and a trite thing, but it's a real tangible thing that is now it's de rigueur in New York. We have abortion pretty much on demand in New York. We pay women's travel expenses to come here from states where they can't get an abortion. That's debatable. There's an honorable aspect to that I understand. Even as a pro-life Republican, I understand that. But you can go to a clinic and have a non-doctor perform an abortion on demand in New York State. Now, that doesn't disproportionately impact wealthy white women. Women in Scarsdale, they're going to go to Dr. Schwartz and they're going to have 3 days in the hospital to recover. It's the women of color who live on the Grand Concourse in the Bronx that are going to go to a clinic and have a non-doctor perform an abortion late term on demand. That's New York. That is what was on the precipice of becoming just on wildfire throughout the country if Americans didn't vote the way they did. And this is why you have people like Bill O'Reilly talking about balls and strikes, and a guy like me sitting here going, I loathe everything about what he did and what he posts and what he says, all the way back to that embarrassing thing he did when he made fun of the journalist. That showed the core of the true man. At the same time,
Here,
we're getting out in front of women, of men and women's spaces. We're finally saying pro-life again. New York also has a right to die law now. New York now has assisted suicide. That's why people voted for him.
I think
here's the
you're right,
problem. TJ,
Michael. Go
TJ,
ahead.
TJ, as I see the problem is the backlash. So we know the pendulum swings,
Yes,
right?
yes. Yes,
And
absolutely.
where it swings from, and there was a book out by our good friend with on CNN, um uh oh my goodness, call him Phip, but he is John, the journalist who did the name of the book was Wingnuts, right?
Oh,
Talking about
yeah. I don't
the
remember his
nation,
name either, but
yeah,
yes, the book, yes,
the
Wingnut.
nation is controlled by the two extremes,
Yes,
by
yes,
the
yes, yes,
extremes, right?
yes.
And those of us in the middle, we're like, oh my goodness, why did you
Yeah,
say this? Why did you say that? Oh, you can't do this. So the backlash, that's the problem that I'm having is midterms coming up, right? Once and I do believe this is not the straw that breaks the camel's back, but I do believe the Dems are going to win the House and the
yeah.
Senate coming,
I
and
agree.
they're going to be in majority.
I
Will
agree.
there be moderation? Will there be governing? Will there be checks and balances? Or are they going to go back to the whole thing of,
Mhm.
okay, here we go again. We're going to try to, try to remove the president with cause. We're going to try
Impeach him, yeah.
to impeach him. We're going to,
Right. Is it going to be two
bring up
years of
old charges.
impeaching, or is
Yeah,
it going to be 2 years of, all right, we're going to be the adults in the room and we're going to show you how to govern?
absolutely.
I would happily take a group of mature Democrats showing Americans how to be adults in a room. I'll take that any day.
So
I
three
fear the
things.
other.
To your point, and I think what Michael and TJ have said is right. But I'm sure that no one on this panel tonight has had the experience I had where I've lived it. I'm a Black woman, moderate Republican, professor at a public university in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Had a tweet on my Twitter feed where all I did was ask a question on my private. It wasn't in the classroom, it wasn't in front of the kids. They came out with this LGBTQ plus bisexual Superman son. I saw it from DC comic books like millions of other people. Just hit Google, you'll hit pay dirt. And I reacted by saying nothing nasty, nothing mean. I said, what would a Christian parent do if their child brings home this? What would they say?
That's a
That's it.
perfect
They
question.
lost it. I got protested. I lost my job. I was the first Black scholar in the history of the school. The one of the few Black faculty members in a very elite
Holy
Virginia
cow.
University. It made national news. Every contract I had, Alex, I forgot canceled. I lost my speaking income. You don't want to know death threats. A box of shit delivered to my house. The
Oh
hate
my
Holy
goodness.
mail that I
cow.
got. I'm a Black woman now. And they jumped on me and called me a racist, a bigot, a homophobe. They called me a Jesus freak. They said F Jesus. The stuff that I endured to this day, I still have trauma 5 years later.
Oh my God.
Yes, I hired lawyers. I can't talk about what happened after that. But at the end of the day, I can assure you that I lived this. So what TJ's saying, folks out there, isn't just a white Republican guy telling you that the progressives were out of control. I'm telling you the progressives were out of control.
100%.
And saying things like making me have to adapt to a whole new language, like you did violence to us. I did what? I, I,
I did
you
what?
made us unsafe. I haven't seen you. I don't even know you. I offered to come to the campus. Let's have a dialogue. That's what you do in academia. That's what you do when you pay
Ask questions.
$50,000 a year to send your kid to a university. A public university is a government entity. It cannot censor speech. It cannot get rid of academic freedom. We all know, but to your point, once the Republicans took over, the pendulum swung in the other direction and they start suing universities. Then they start doing the exact opposite of what they didn't like.
But it wasn't.
Let
it
me
was
finish.
Okay.
Let me finish, Michael. And in Virginia, right now, today, our governor, who is known to be a blue dog, centrist Democrat, Abigail Spanberger, she was liked in the House. She has just signed the most liberal bills. Something about trans, something about LGBTQ, gay marriage, whatever else. And then guess what else happened, Republicans? The new map 10-1. You will hold 1 seat in the Congress, in the Commonwealth, where you now hold 5 seats.
And that's all you're going to get.
That's elections. And what I'm telling you is we are now in this really crappy place where we just piss on each other and mistreat each other and swing back and forth. And I'll get you and I'll fix you. If you don't think the way I think, if you don't believe the way I believe, we will take you. I've lived it. So I'm not talking pie in the sky. Like I said, hit Google, you'll hit pay dirt. My life was wrecked. My family, it was horrible. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
I did not know that story. Thank you, Sophia, for sharing that. I did not know that story.
Sophia, yeah. And you know, honestly, it puts fear in my heart, in my mind, thinking, oh my goodness. So I'm a public figure. We're public on this show and subject to some of those same things. But what I was sorry for interrupting you, but what I was going to say was Republican. But the MAGA is not republicanism.
Right.
That's an extreme. That's an extreme cultism. Okay, those are cult followers. You know, and it's unfortunate their brains have been seized. They have drank a Kool-Aid that is antithetical, just like the the Ocasios and the
Bernie Sanders and
the Bernie Sanders. They're literally, and so we have to take the country back.
Yep.
You know, we have a governor here that I kind of like, and he's definitely going to run, and you know, Josh Shapiro.
By the way, everybody, tell them where you live, Michael.
I live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah, Shapiro's a solid guy.
Yes. Yeah, and who is
Harris should have picked them, but that's another story.
Yeah. Well,
I think he would have said no, or he did say no, but that's another discussion for a different show.
You got to read her book.
But he's definitely running in for the next time. I mean, he's going to be out there, but I think we have to. I've got a song, and you can listen to my show, and I'll sing it. I'll talk about it. It goes from that 70s song. Remember, it's stuck in the middle with you. To me, jokers
Stuck
to the
in the
right,
middle
but
with
here I
you.
am, stuck in the middle with you. You know, and we need.
I was
to
a kid.
find-
I don't know what you're talking about.
I wasn't born yet.
You weren't born yet. I was a little one, but yes, I understand.
There's a lot of little lies coming out tonight.
Yeah, I do. It's coming back. I remember roller rink, maybe.
Hey, I want to pivot to that because I know we're getting a little bit low on time. But I want to take a pause in just a second, and I want to tell you some wonderful news, everybody that watches this. We are starting a new show, and that show is called Restoring the American Dream, and I cannot think of a better time for it to show. And we're going to take a pause for just a second, and because the host of that show is with us tonight. Let's take a pause for just a second. This is our promo. It will start running Monday.
A Noble Media Group member.
America's known our share of tyrants. In response to tyranny, we created one of the greatest guiding documents ever written by mankind. We stood for what was right. We've also made mistakes, but we corrected those mistakes by fighting for what was right both inside our borders and beyond. Today, America faces another challenge: Christian nationalism. Misguided faith and misguided patriotism justifying misguided deeds.
Would turn the hearts of those who are in power and position to make decisions.
That person, T circle, preach the lie.
That's not who we are, America. The Constitution is as true today as the day it was ratified. America stands for freedom, and America stands for doing what's right. And it's time we start restoring the American dream. Okay, Michael,
Yes.
this is your baby. I am so excited about this. I again, as I said just before we watched that, I'm excited about this. I want to hear about how your vision. I want to hear about, as somebody of the cloth, that how you see this moving forward. Share that with our audience, because I'm super pumped.
So I ran for office. So I've been a member of clergy for over 40 years. Grew up in Washington, D.C., went to school at Virginia Tech, had the athletes experience, etc. Moved to New York City and lived in the Bronx with a pastor. And that was where I was exposed to urban ministry for the first time. And so that was my whole exposure to ministry, and just have been in ministry ever since. But in, I guess, 2010, I ran for Congress in Harlem as a Republican, as a conservative Republican.
Wow.
And got to see people, and I was out on the street, so it wasn't like a desktop campaign. I was out in the street, hugging people, laughing with people, going to events, kissing babies, hugging people. And I saw that the most amazing thing is that we, at its core center, the immigrants, all of us, we share a real passion for the ideals of America. And we have allowed the ideals of America to be stolen from us, robbed from us by the extremists. What we were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The extremists, the wing
On
nuts.
both sides.
On both sides. It was John Avalon, by the way, who's another friend of mine. But those extremes have robbed us of what the vision of America really is, the ideals of America. America is not ideal, but its ideals, we think, original ideals of what makes this country great, are the best things in the world. Now, unfortunately, they've been robbed of luster because of what we're seeing now, what we're hearing, and the outcry of injustices and so forth, on both extremes, that have literally threatened to derail America. But we still have a Constitution that is in place.
Absolutely. 100%.
And that Constitution guarantees that the American people are still in charge.
100%.
And so restoring the American dream is all about us returning not to conservative values, not to liberal values, but to American values.
100. I'd love it.
And one of my favorite historical figures or letters is George Washington's farewell address. He when you analyze that and see the what he was saying to the nation as he was stepping off of the battlefield and into the quote unquote quiet life in which he became president, that we cannot allow partisan politics to derail this country. And so I think, that I'm excited about that, and being able to bring on people who can talk about their experiences with the American dream, restoring that American dream, and having it available for all of us. And I'm excited.
I'm super excited for you. I know we're almost out of time. I just want to ask you one little question about it, because you and I have talked offline and online even about Christian nationalism. And I know that was one of the things that you were concerned about, and what's even in the promo. Tell me just briefly, because I know we're almost out of time, explain your views on that, on Christian nationalism, and why it concerns you.
Well, Jesus never came to be a political leader. He never charged his people with takeover politics. The kingdom of God is not a theocracy. And I know those are big words, but the kingdom of God is not of this world. We are to, and so when Christians think that somehow being an American, or that America is the new Israel, it's not. or that America is the kingdom of God. It's not. And so that's very, very important for me as a Christian leader, that I can be involved in politics, but not be political, not be driven. I do not set up politics as an idol. I see it as a civic responsibility. And so, yeah, white Christian nationalism, thinking that somehow, being white and being Christian means that I have to dominate the world. Oh my goodness, that's like idolatry.
Real quickly, and then we're going to close down, because I know you extremely well, and certainly Sophia and many other people in politics. A lot of the folks that watch this show don't follow politics or things like that closely. Share just in like 1 minute or 2 minutes, just your background. I mean, you're currently a pastor, where you've gone to school. Just a little bit for our viewers, and then we're going to call it a night.
Okay, thanks. Grew up in DC, went to school at Virginia Tech, played football in the NFL for a couple of years, one season with the New York Jets, then continued on in ministry, worked with Jerry Falwell Sr., and then went to New York City to run a soup kitchen. And that's where I got up and close and personal with everything that God wanted me to do. Had a wonderful life there, raised 3 kids, and was widowed 11 years ago or 12 years ago, and remarried 11 years ago, by God's grace, the love of my life. And we are living now here in Philadelphia, and I am the chair of the board for the Philadelphia Council of Clergy. And I'm about to go to Africa actually in a couple weeks in Liberia for a missions trip to help leaders there. So I'm still involved in missions and what God has called me to do, and just so happy to be part of the No Bull Media Network family.
Well, we're blessed to have
it's
you.
No Bull.
We are
That's
blessed
excellent.
to have you.
Yeah.
All right,
You're going to make this.
It's going to be so much fun.
You're going to make this a better endeavor.
It is. And you're going to make us all a little bit more knowledgeable and better. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Please subscribe. You see it right there to our YouTube channel. It's at No Bull Media Group. Real simple, at No Bull Media Group. Like what you see, leave a comment, ask a question. We obviously talk about these on air and have done it many times. We'll answer your questions. You'll not just get our content, you're going to get Michael's content. You're going to get another show that we're announcing soon. And there's a lot of stuff happening. It's a really good time to follow this network and this group of people, because we're just some fantastic folks. Thank you again. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Night.
The No Bull Political Arena is on all major social media platforms. Make sure to give us and your host a follow.
Hey everybody, this is Sophia Nelson. Follow me at I am Sophia Nelson on every one of my social media platforms.
I'm Bill O'Reilly, and you can reach me at Twitter at WFBOR.
Hey, this is TJ. Follow me on X or Twitter at TJ McCormack.
This is Brian Mistro, and you can follow me on X at Brian_Mistro, or follow along on Facebook at Brian.Mistro.
A No Bull Media Group member.